Hello and welcome. I'm Arumba. Thank you for joining me. So, let's go ahead and actually play Dwarf Fortress. We've been somewhat skirting around the issue for what feels like days, setting things up and getting the game ready to go, doing tutorials and those types of things. But let's actually fire it up and actually get some content, get some playing done. I'm going to continue playing in Rusk Osak. I've already forgotten what that stands for. We'll have to check. So, one thing that I'm going to do, there's the music. One thing I'm going to do throughout this Let's Play is I am going to keep this game in windowed full screen mode. Normally, I don't like to do that because I think that this, the taskbar down here can be distracting. I've tried to make it as minimalistic as possible, but the reason I play Dwarf Fortress this way is that it's more convenient, I think, to be able to tab back and forth between Therapist and Fortress mode, and alt-tabbing out can be a little bit of a hassle. So let's fire off. Let's talk about, real quick, before we actually unpause the game, let's talk about a couple of the features of Masterwork Dwarf Fortress. So this is brand new in this version. This is a happiness indicator, which is awesome. So glad to see this added to the game. This was not caused or created by Toady, the guy who makes Dwarf Fortress, but actually another person who created it, and it was incorporated into DF Hack, and then Meph, the maker of this mod, added it in. So it's an overlay. It just replaces some of the tiles here. So these are the dwarves that are the least happy. These are the dwarves that are not very happy, and then these would be ecstatic. It just kind of gives you a visual indicator of how your overall fortress is doing without having to use Dwarf Fortress. Right, so I am going to play. Let's play the game. Alright, so let's set some hotkeys. I need to remember what the heck I'm doing. Actually, I've played this game a little while. Alright, so I'm okay with that being there. Let's take a survey of the world. There's our volcano. And let's see if we can figure out where we want to actually build our fortress. We have a clear a sheer cliff face here. It's very steep. Goes down almost vertically. In fact, there's some tiles here that are literally like a vertical face. Those little tiny dots mean that that's open air, meaning there's nothing directly below it. So, or like that, there's nothing in that tile. And then these indicate that there's a cliff, like a ramp that you can go up. So it's a very steep cliff. We're at the 114th sea level on the current view right now. And let's just see, is there anything down below? Does it plateau off? There it is. Okay, so we've got some trees down here. We're in a serene zone, so that's why it's all kind of green and pretty looking. It's supposed to be a peaceful area. It would be nice to be close to this river, since we'd be able to fish from it, and we wouldn't have to worry about food supply, because this would be an endless supply of fish. Since the water source goes from the edge of the map at the very top, as long as the water source touches the edge of the map at any point, it doesn't have to connect in 2 points or anything. This will be considered an endless supply of fish. The problem is that we have those lions down here, and I think there were 5 of them, so there's probably a couple more. In fact, there's probably... yeah, it looks like there's actually 2 here. You see how it's doing that little flip thing? It's letting you see there's 2 separate lions here. Actually, 3 lion men are all on that tile. So yeah, there's 5 lion men. I don't know if I want to go down there. But it'd be nice to be near those trees. Plus, for the sake of just understanding what's going on around you, it's nice to have a flat area. So, okay, we could go up here as well. Not nearly near the river, but got some murky pools. A little bit of silk down here from some spiders. Some ore, some cassiterite, could use that. Native gold. And again, we're continuing to go up, 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 up. And we got some flat ground in the bottom left-hand corner of the map as well. And how much higher can we go? My goodness. More silk down here. And looks like the volcano tops off at around Z level 154. So this is the level of actual lava. This is open space. I'd like to be near the volcano so we can utilize some of the magma furnaces, but I also don't really want to start off digging directly into obsidian because that'll take a while longer to dig. So let's do this. We'll start. Let's start here. So this is soil. It's easy to dig through, and we'll be able to quickly establish a base if we start over there-ish. So I'm going to see if I can get my bearings straight. Just how far away was that? Actually, this is all peat. We could dig through this too. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to stay here. We're very close to that. We've got some flat ground here, and it's peat. Yeah, we'll just start here. So all that looking around I just did was kind of useless. Not really. I mean, we got a good lay of the land. We know what we're looking at, but wasn't 100% necessary. We could have just dug into the wall right here. Now, I'm going to actively be using Quick Fort. So if you're not familiar with Quick Fort, please go watch my quick tutorial on how to use it. I'm not going to explain it very much in this video because that's the purpose of the tutorial. But I'm actually going to play this game live. I'm not going to pause it and then play a ton on my own and then just give you updates like I've seen so many other Let's Players do. That's one of my personal pet peeves. Is I hate when things happen and I don't get to see them happen. I like to see the game happen so I feel like I'm playing it myself. So that's the experience I'm going to try to give to you. And without further ado, since I still have not yet unpaused the game, let's get started. So we'll go ahead and start off with just a three-way tunnel directly in, and I'm going to turn off numlocks so that I can use shift to move quickly. So we'll just dig in straight there, and while they're at it, they can get rid of these ramps so that it's just nice and flat coming in. And then after that, I just want to carve out just your very, very basic square room so that we can get all the stuff inside. And naturally I messed it up. There we go. It's got to be symmetrical. It's very important. If you have OCD, you'll love this game because you can spend tons and tons and tons and tons of time making sure everything is perfect. Right, so let's check Dwarf Therapist. I don't actually remember if I set things up properly. Looks like, yep, we've got 3 miners, 1 carpenter, 1 crossbow maker, and etc. We've got basically one of everything as per my role optimization. So we should be good. Everyone's set to haul. Got a bunch of animals. And I've got a bunch of wood. But let's designate a couple trees anyway, just so that we can get one guy chopping them down. Not too many, though. Okay. I want to actually unpause. There we go. Oh my god. We're playing the game. We're playing the game. I gotta go, dwarves, go. Yes, so they're going to dig very, very quickly into this hill because it's peat. And never mind. We've hit gabbro. So now we're into stone, but we'll slow down a little bit, but that's okay. We're not changing things now. Now, you always want to try to keep your idlers low. We have 7 dwarves, 3 of which right now are completely idle, doing nothing but sitting around socializing. Lazy bastards. So we can press the Z key to see our status. This is going to show us animals, kitchen, stone, stocks. Right now, we want to press U, though, to look at units, and we can see each individual dwarf and what they're doing. So 3 of them are digging, the 3 that I had assigned the digging labor. 1 is cutting trees. And then we've got 3 who are just doing nothing. So let's build a kitchen. So we'll go ahead, we'll build a kitchen outdoors for now. We also need let's build a butcher's shop. And let's build a tanner. And what else can we start off with? Probably a farmer's workshop so we can turn all that milk into cheese. Which reminds me, I need to go into the kitchen and disable some of these items. So the kitchen is where you kind of can control, you tell your dwarves, what do you do with the food supply? Like, what can we do with it? So that's the permissions here. So we don't know exactly how much stuff we have because I don't yet have a noble bookkeeper to keep track of it. So if we have less than 10 of anything, we know exactly how many we have at our current kind of setting, like how much accuracy we have. If we have more than 10 of something, it's just going to show up like this. It'll say 10 plus, 10 question mark. It's somewhere around 10, we're not really sure. So it's accurate to basically one, like a tens place. So, do I want them to cook with meat? Yeah, go ahead, that's fine. You can cook with all of the meat and tasty brains and juicy eyes you want. Feel free. But then down here, strawberries, I don't want them to cook it, so I'm going to press C to toggle cook. I want to brew strawberries, not cook them. I want to use that to make alcohol. Dwarves need to drink, and they need to eat. If they are not getting both of those things, they will become very, very upset, which is bad. So, we also do not want to cook with milk, because we're going to turn milk into cheese. We do want to cook all the eggs for now. That's okay. Right, there we go. So now they will not do anything with stuff that I don't want. So bam, there go a couple of the others. They're going to go off and run off. Got our farmer's workshop complete now, so let's go ahead and add a few make cheese jobs. So they're going to take the cheese and take the milk and turn it into cheese. And then let's check the animals real quick. Now, unfortunately, one of the drawbacks to using a texture pack, which is what makes the game look pretty, is that it's not always going to use the symbols that you'd really like. Like, for instance, that little symbol there means it's a female hen, or a female turkey. That little bag is a male. You just kind of have to know when you're using this texture pack, you have to just know that that's what that's supposed to be. Now if I press F12, I can toggle true type, but that's also going to move around my Fraps FPS thing. So you can see with true type on, it's pretty clear. That's it's a male symbol. That's a female symbol. The problem is that there's a bunch of bugs with Dwarf Fortress in the current version, and it's going to get very buggy if we play with it on. So I'm going to disable it. I'm actually got to go through twice to get rid of that as well. So just bear with me. That's what those mean. So we got 2 female horses. They came. We didn't have to buy them. They just came with the wagon. So we did not get a breeding pair, which is unfortunate. But we could keep them and milk them. You can milk horses in this game. But I also brought a bunch of goats that we can milk too. And well, they are booze belly goats. They're going to produce booze milk, not actual milk. So do I care more about alcohol? Well, for now I'm not going to do anything about them, but I'm going to probably butcher these 2 horses soon, because they're a grazer, just like the booze belly goats are, and I don't really want to deal with them. Right, so, got the cheese going, kitchen's being made. I'm going to start off with easy meals. The only difference between an easy meal, fine meal, and a lavish meal is the number of ingredients that are used. An easy meal uses 2 items, fine meal uses 3, and a lavish meal uses 4. So the reason I'm going to start off with easy meals is that my dwarves are all complete noobs at everything. They're terrible. They have no skill whatsoever. I've just refreshed it. So these 3, the miners, are now dabbling. They've barely got any experience at all because I just started digging into that mountain. And my cook has no experience as well. So if I have him do these lavish meals, he'll go through the ingredients very quickly, but he's not going to get very much skill because he's using them up faster. So if I do a bunch of easy meals, I'm going to essentially give my cook twice as much experience. We'll talk later on about why you want to try to skill up your cook. But let's start off with easy meals on repeat. Just make them until you can't make them anymore. Butcher's shop we don't need to do anything with. Tanner's shop don't need to do anything with. Didn't mess with stockpiles yet. Got the game running at 150 frames a second, which is decently quick. You can see how slowly they're digging now that they're into the stone compared to the soil. And we've struck some iron ore. Tetrahedrite. Now, there's a bunch of different metals in this game, and it can be a little bit confusing at first, but we will talk about it soon. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and designate a few stockpiles. Now, stockpiles are essentially the way that you tell your dwarves where to put things. You don't have any direct control over any individual dwarf in this game, so I can't, take control of this guy and move him around. I have no direct control over where he goes, barring a few little tricks that I'll teach you later. But I can say that this is where we're going to put garbage. So I've just designated a refuse stockpile, so when we see things like this, little bits of bone, this is a finch remains, so apparently somebody killed a bird, another finch died. They're going to put remains there. Now this is a common thing that I think a lot of new players will make the mistake of, is they'll designate a refuse area and then think, okay, how come they're ignoring this refuse? They're not doing anything with it. Well, we need to press O to pull up our standing orders, and this is another interface where you can tell your dwarves what to do. So O and then refuse are, right now, dwarves ignore refuse from outside. If I press O, now dwarves gather refuse from outside, but they ignore vermin remains. I can change it to gather vermin remains. For right now, I actually do want them to gather all of the garbage, and I'm going to leave it that way. I'll show you in just a minute why I want that. We're going to do something with the bones. So now they're going to grab those little finches and put them on the pile. How'd you end up doing with that cheese? Yep, so they made all the cheese that they could, or maybe not all of it. Let's just keep queuing that up. What ends up happening is if he doesn't have any milk, he'll just clear out the labors, clear out all those jobs. So he's taken all the milk, or some of the milk. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's done all of it, because we still have a bunch. If we look in the kitchen, we can see that we still have 50 plus milk. So he hasn't actually done it with the big pile. This game to me feels like the ultimate micromanagement game. Like, you are God. You control everything that they do. More so, I think, than a game like SimCity or any other type of simulator. Right, so they've completed that room. It looks nice and pretty. I'm going to make a pile indoors, and I'm just going to leave it with animal as the setting for now. And I'm going to make it this entire room. Then I'm going to press Q, which is query, and I'm going to do a query of this stockpile and press S to change the settings. Now this is the interface I can use to tell them what goes in this stockpile specifically. So I'm going to enable pretty much everything for now. Let's start with everything enabled. Everything goes here. And then I'm going to go through and disable the things that I don't want. So I actually don't want you to worry about animals. This would be things like cages. I do want them to bring the food indoors. I do want them to bring all the furniture indoors. Corpses, we don't want them bringing those inside. Refuse, we've already told them to put outside. Stone is a lot of work for them to move. It's very heavy, so we'll just let them leave it where they find it for now. Ammos, coins, bars, blocks, gems, finished goods, leather, cloth, wood. Let's not move the wood. We've got 50 logs that we brought, but weapons and armor and everything else, yeah. So we've just basically said, bring all the crap inside. And let's do this. So they're going to put all this stuff here for now, and we'll end up making this the trade zone area. Let's dig a little bit deeper. I want to get closer to that magma over there. So now you can see them bringing the food indoors from the wagon, which is this thing here. We've got a bunch of little animals running around. Looks like that is a stray dog, chicken, dog. There's our horse. Let's go ahead and actually pasture the horses as well. So I've just created an activity zone. I'm going to make this activity zone into a pen or pasture by pressing N. And then I'm going to use capital N to set the pen or pasture information. So from here, now I can say, okay, what animals go in here. And that's interesting. What happened to my search interface? They must have removed it in the last version. That's unfortunate. So I've just said basically put these two horses and put all the booze belly goats in here. The cats, dogs, and mastiffs can all run around all that they'd like. So now a dwarf's going to drag the animals into that little zone, and they'll stay there. So they're all working now. We've got a couple of them digging. Their icons changed because they've got at least a little bit of skill as miners. So 2 of them are level 1 with that. One of them's a level 1 woodcutter, a level 1 cook. And so, yep, they're all just sort of bringing stuff inside for us. The only problem with moving the food this way is that now, you know, I set up the kitchen right next to the wagon so that the cook could start, you know, building all the meals there. But he is now going to have to go here, pick up items and bring them back out, and then someone else will bring them back in. Kind of a lot of extra work. That's okay. And let's do this. So I like to have a decent amount of room, about four big jumps in every direction. So yeah, this will be a good spot. So we'll make our downward stairs here. And actually, let's just make them up downstairs. And now I am going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up Quick Fort. So Quick Fort, Quick Fort, Quick Fort. I did not bind it. There we go. Okay, so we got Quick Fort loaded. Let's pick a file. And I want to build my... Oh, let's just go ahead and dig out the bedrooms first, I think. I'm going to go with my basic bedrooms. And these are not the most efficient design. They are, it's just basically designed to give me 8 bedrooms per Z level. And so let's build it there. So there's 1 floor, and actually, let's go ahead and dig out 7 of them. 7 times 8 would be 56, and that's a decent amount of dwarfs for now, so repeat that 7 times going down. Ta-da! All done. So I'll let them work on that, and actually we need to dig that part too, and we'll undo that. Notice how you can use the mouse with this mod, because again, DF hack is making it a lot easier to play this game. We can see what's in here. Still got the eggs. He's not nearly complete with actually working on all that. The lion men are right there, getting really close. Do not like that. Got some sand sprites, alligator snapping turtles, still have the 5 lion men. They're probably not going to come close to us, but things could get very fun soon. Now most of the animals that are not assigned to a pasture, you can see that the goats and horses are up here where I've created that pasture. They have to stay within this pasture unless they get scared. These animals don't have a pasture, so they can go anywhere they want. They're sticking near the wagon because the wagon is by default set as a meeting area. So for instance, if I click or look at this zone, it's not set to a meeting area. Again, the wagon is automatically a meeting area. So animals and dwarves that don't have anything to do are going to move to a meeting area. So the chickens and dogs and cats and things are going to go in there. So let's go ahead and we'll make a meeting area indoors so that they're a little bit safer. And actually I don't want it to extend into the wall, so we're going to remove it and replace that. There we go. And press M to make it a meeting area. Now I did put a meeting area directly over top of a stockpile. There's no negative penalty to doing that. You can have both in the same zone, same tiles. Walking over food doesn't hurt it. There's really no issue with that. So no problems there. So they're going to basically gravitate that way now after I remove the wagon. There's still a bunch of stuff here though. I need to enable bins and barrels here so that they bring in those barrels. Barrels of food and such. And let's actually slate the wagon for removal so that that's not a meeting zone anymore. And then I'm also going to take these little remains and things that are here now, and I'm going to use one of the new reactions that's been added in this mod, which is make bone studs from vermin. So we're going to take the vermin and we're going to make some bone studs from them. So we're basically taking like the little birds and rats and things, and we're turning them into bone studs, which we can add to leather to make studded leather. So now you can see, yep, looks like there's one of the dogs. There's the mastiff, some chickens. They've come inside. Now chickens don't graze. You would think that they need to eat something, but they don't. They can live off stone for some reason. So they'll all slowly work their way inside. Now these little icons, see how there's that flashing down blue arrow? That means that he's thirsty. So if we click on him, we can see his current job is to drink. He's drinking. If we click on him again, we can see, again, there's what is on that tile. There's a miner, there's a wagon, and then sparse downy grass. If I click one more time, I see the actual wagon, which is the building that's there. I don't want to look at that. I actually want to look at, what am I trying to do? Yeah, actually, I just wanted to look at this. That's the first thing that popped up automatically. So I can see that he is drinking. I can see if I press I can check his inventory. So he is currently drinking some swamp whiskey. Yummy. Sounds delicious. He's drinking it here because there's nowhere to sit down. We don't have a dining room yet. Let's see how they're doing with those. Now, unfortunately, something you do need to be aware of is that the way that dwarves carry out some of your commands is that if you designate a bunch of different areas to dig, they're always going to start in the top left corner, and they're going to prefer to work top left to bottom right. So you can see that pretty clearly here. I designated 7 floors of bedrooms, and they dug out the top left one. The next floor down, they just kind of did screw off, just didn't do much of anything. And then for some reason, they're not really focusing on one floor. Now there's a few ways that you can handle that. First is that you could just designate one floor at a time, but I'm actually going to use a burrow, which, again, I don't see a lot of Let's Plays or even tutorials that really explain how to use these effectively, even for short term. So to create a burrow, you just press W. Actually, let's delete the one I just created. So add a new burrow. We could name it, but I'm just going to use this temporarily, so I'm not going to name it. I'm going to press enter to define it, and I'm going to create it right over this area. It's going to start flashing. I could change the color and if there's an icon or those things, but I don't need to do any of that. What I'm going to do instead is, now that I've created it, I'm going to press escape, and I'm going to press now C to add citizens to burrow, and I'm going to real quick just assign these 3 miners to the burrow. And a burrow is basically like a zone for dwarves. I'm saying that these 3 have to be in this burrow. You are not allowed to leave this area. So now, when I press unpause, those 3 miners are going to mine on this level. They have to. And the problem with doing this for a long period of time, though, is that if I don't remove them or release them from the burrow, when they get hungry, thirsty, or tired, they're going to starve to death. They will literally die because they cannot leave the burrow. So I'm just going to very temporarily use the burrow to get this first level mined out, and then I'm going to delete the burrow, which will automatically remove them from it and let them go dig wherever they want. So now, if I just let the game run, I've paused it, but if I let it run, they just sort of hang out and just starve to death. So let's go ahead and press W and then D, Y. Now the burrow's gone. They'll scamper off and go work somewhere else, but we've got a full bedroom built out. What we need next is I do want to get some things being built, but I've not really dug out any kind of useful area for it. So we'll just dig out some very, very temporary rooms that they can use to make our furniture. And again, we'll use that trick again here. Add burrow, enter, define the burrow. I really need this done now. This is high priority, guys. Get your asses over here. And they'll come run and do it. So this is a very easy way to control where your dwarves work. Now we do have a couple idlers because they've brought pretty much everything inside. Looks like this wagon still hasn't been removed. Let's check and see if we've got a carpenter. Yep, we do have a carpenter, but he's also one of the miners. So unfortunately his kind of AI is determining that he wants to mine more than he wants to do carpentry. He's the only dwarf that I have allowed to do carpentry, so no one else is going to do the job. So let's go ahead, I'm going to sort by role, by click, and then I'm going to make this guy, who is not a miner, also a carpenter. Commit changes, go back to the game, and now someone should come over here and disassemble that wagon. Got the first room done. Let's build a mason's workshop. I'm going to start building a few things with that, and you know, I think I'm actually going to need to end the Let's Play here for now, but I will be recording a bit more, and let me at least let them finish so I don't forget. Let them finish digging out this burrow, delete the burrow, and then I'm going to have to end the video here. But hopefully this is enjoyable for you. We did finally get some playing in. So WDY, there goes that burrow. And yeah, it's a good place to end it so far. So far we've moved everything indoors. We've dug out at least one level of bedrooms. We still need to build the actual beds and things. And we're getting some rudimentary crafting areas going. So overall, I think it's a pretty decent start. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.